Incredible price action coming out of our favorite tickers today. I must admit that I'm a little bit worried as the correlation coefficient ended up correlating a little deeper, a little faster than I thought. So let's just go ahead and go over the charts and the current situation for tomorrow's edge. Welcome back on this Hump Day Wednesday. This is ARCa, and let's dive into ticker symbol FNGR. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ticker symbol SPY first, right? Because we ended up talking about this upside a few days ago, right? We signaled this at around the closing of this candle here at around 436, and we expected a top side of about 444 to 447 as our current resistance. Over the last 3 days, we have fulfilled that, and now we're starting to get a little bit of a pullback here. So as this is meeting our expectations, just like we said regarding the the broader market rally into macroeconomic reports or announcements similar to the one that we're going to be facing on this Friday for from Fed Chair Powell. So yeah, it's still moving onwards and upwards. So I actually still see a little bit of strength coming out of the SPY. There is a probability to where we can actually fulfill the top side of that 447. And then face a pretty substantial pullback. What's happening right now is that we got the top side of the descending broadening wedge, and now we're just pulling back to validate that as a support before continuing on to that. So we're just gonna have to kind of move along day by day here and see what could happen here, because I mean it's the back test is coming true. Okay, so the back test that we talked about here, volatility versus momentum, from expansive levels to contractive levels with an upside pivot of stochastic momentum is proving correct. So my problem here is this. Okay, this is the worry. Okay, this is the worry. I'm just gonna kind of say it out loud, right? So my thesis was that we're going to get this upside, seeing that there was an inverse correlation between the SPY and ticker symbol FNGR. So we were going to see this upside, and we were in turn, we were going to end up diving to the zone of about what we said, 385 for FNGR, right? So let me show you that here. We were thinking that we were going to dive down here to 385. So based on this inverse correlation, we didn't. We ended up bouncing from 396, just very shy of the target that we were actually looking for. I'm not complaining. It's just that worries me a bit, because now if we are correlating again with the SPY, I'm expecting a SPY pullback. So if that's going to be a SPY pullback, then if we're correlated to the SPY again, then FNGR would pull back too. But, there is a little bit of a saving grace within that. Remember that the statistical backtest is coming up with an average upside thrust, aka your mean, of 15.21% to the upside, which is leading to a potential all-time high, a new all-time high, right? So that would be around 503.02 per the data. So if that's the case, then the correlation between the SPY and FNGR would be sound, and we would continue onwards and upwards. I was mentioning to you the fact that we were at support from the the SMA 14 and the RSI signal. So you can see that we're actually starting to curve here, and it looks like we're going to start making an upside turn here. That's all fine and dandy. It's just that I want to make sure that FNGR continues to correlate itself with the SPY if that's the case, right? So as soon as the SPY started showing all that strength, FNGR turned around from that 396 bottom and continued onwards and upwards, at one point reaching up to $4.55. That's a massive bounce. Okay, so we're looking at a 396 to around that 455, marking a 15% run. And currently sitting at 426, so not bad. The 426, the drop back down to here, it's not any type of It's not a wash sale. It's not manipulation. It's not nothing like that. The reason why is because we broke outside of a major resistance and we're coming back to test it as a support. Then we continue. Simple as that. All right, team. So now what we're looking at here is a high probability of a continuation to the upside based on volatility and momentum. Let's observe. We have contracting volatility and a very convincing upside pivot here on the buy hourly. Look at the hourly time frame, has an upside pivot too, approaching the gravitational zone with increasing volatility. Let's see the 30-minute. The 30-minute is showing a little bit of an ebb and flow here. So that is pertaining to the pullback back down to the area of around 414 for validation of support. 15-minute time frame with an aggressive upside, which is likely why the 30-minute hourly and bi-hourly are getting these reads to the upside. Now, the 3-hour, we're definitely getting a very convincing upside pivot as well. We're in critical contraction here, and the RSI is showing that we could have a temporary pullback. If you correlate the SMA 14 to this support here at 414, that 415, it seems to be like that would be our bottom side here and our opportunity to get long the asset in case there are some stragglers here. But remember that I am looking at this as a short-term play. Okay, so I am not talking about buy and hold here. So be very careful with that. Okay, so now, yeah, looking at the RSI signal, we would jump from the gravitational zone and the SMA 14 in the bear strength percentile for a bounce to the upside. Okay, so now let's look at the 4-hour time frame and see if we got a read there. In fact, we do. We got an upside read here with increasing volatility. We're facing a little bit of resistance here, naturally so, because we need to come back down and validate the support of 415, of course. And you can see on the MACD that we're decreasing bear pressure. Okay, so there could be bullish crossover soon enough. So let's see, the 6-hour time frame already reflecting an upside pivot on stochastics, and check this out. This is where it starts to get a little nice. Decreasing bear pressure and finding the support, first of all, breakout and support from the SMA 14 in the gravitational zone. This is likely to face an upside too. We have incoming, there's inbound cash, right? So this is a representation of our dispersion of returns, and we are getting cash flow inbound. Okay, so now the 8-hour time frame also reflecting a potential upside, decreasing a bit of that bear pressure, and it looks like there is a resistance coming up, and that resistance is also in the gravitational zone. Actually, I'm sorry, in the opposing zone's gravitational zone, and that would likely face a pullback. So if I were to correlate the 8-hour resistance of the SMA 14 and the RSI, I would give the 475 target some validity. Okay, so yeah, we're going to have to observe that as we move on. 12-hour time frame, also reflecting that upside pivot, and we're also getting a little bit of bear pressure diminishing here. So, and the 12-hour downside pivot that we have here in the RSI, I can't tell if it's going to continue to the downside. First of all, I don't trust these little tiny pivots, as they often tend to fail, right? And I mean, in this case, we are making a move back to the upside, and we're still within the gravitational zone here. So we could actually make a short-term upside, face the 12-hour resistance, similar to the 8-hour time frame, and find a pullback. So if that's the case, then so be it. But we'll evaluate this, and we'll continue looking at it just like we have been in our live sessions, right, on YouTube. So definitely come by, say hello. Lots of great people there. It's a good community and good people, good vibes. Okay, team, so let's just look at the last part of the analysis here and see what the deal is. I mean, everything right now, of course, is facing either a slight bit of downside. We have immediate support coming up on the bi-hourly time frame, which is giving the 415 validity. Support here on the 6-hour time frame is already being found from the gravitational zone, and we have a few resistances coming up right on the larger time frames. What I wanted to point out here was that I came back to the 5-day RSI opposed to the bi-weekly RSI. The bi-weekly RSI was the reason that we were suggesting a potential 385 to maybe even 377 bottom. And it looks like the 5-day ended up trying to find that support from the SMA 14. I can't tell. This is very close, and I can't tell if it's going to honor it or if it's going to try to succeed. I'm sorry, if it's going to honor it, or if it's going to fall from it, or, you know, I can't tell if we're going to succeed this at all. So it's very close. I think that I would be guessing if I would just tell you what may or may not happen here. So I would really like to see data moving here, and I would like to see it react according to that, according to the present situation here. But I mean, like I said, I was incredibly bullish the SPY and incredibly bearish FNGR based on the inverse correlation. So I guess regarding that, let's just touch on the correlation coefficient. So on the weekly time frame, of course, right? So now you can actually see here that we're starting to find this pivot. Yesterday, this was pivoted straight down, and now this is finding a little bit of curve, which is just incredibly annoying. You know, the thing is that I had a thesis here, and it was the 477 SPY reversal, right? I mean, we got arguably what was it for? Let's see. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the weekly time frame. Let's go to this time frame here. Yeah, so we ended up getting that top side of 445.79. Okay, so close enough. This was the top side of the resistance. So let me just kind of scooch this here and scooch this over just so you can see how this is happening. We're currently testing that support from the take profit of the descending broadening wedge. So, and statistically speaking, this is still technically very bullish, and it should be continuing on to the upside with a potential target of 503. That is the top side target, though. It doesn't mean that we're going to reach it. It just means that we would have to evaluate the relevant resistances on our way up to that target. So that's what has me a little bit worried here is the fact that this still has the potential to continue rallying, but what if FNGR decides to decouple? And you know what I mean. So it's just I'm really thinking a lot about this right now, and it has me in a bit of a twirl here. Okay, so we have to be reactive to the present situation. Okay, so I mean, clearly you can see here that there was an inverse reaction. This is the present weekly candle, which is, by the way, it's over in a day and 20 hours, and this is the present weekly candle of the SPY showing the upside, clear inverse. Right, but we ended up getting this bottom side of 396, and right when we faced that bottom side of the SPY, it bounced pretty aggressively, and this thing started following a little bit. Like, oh man, that is just like, what do you do? You know, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, other than that, touching back down on the 10-year yield and versing that with the SPY and FNGR. You can clearly see that. We ended up getting that 10-year yield fall, bonds falling, and a SPY showing strength, which is an inverse correlation widely known, right? As long as you do have the 10-year yield, you know, kind of falling, that would introduce bull pressure for risk assets. And same thing here. The DXY just made a slight higher high. We were talking about the potential of around 104 or 105. We didn't quite get that. We went still a little bit higher, though, and then continued downwards, right? So I guess it's okay. I guess it's fine. The only thing I'm worried about is what I explained, team. So let me know in the chat what you guys are thinking. This is what I presume to be happening right now. And to be very honest, if we are finding that support from the 5-day time frame, then this could be setting up. We could be setting up for a continuation onwards and upwards. After hours, we already reached around 447, currently sitting at 426. So, but nonetheless, way upside of the $4 mark. So, which is great. You know, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. We're just gonna have to be reactive to the present price action. So let's go ahead and do that tomorrow morning. Let's evaluate the markets and find out what could be happening here. But I am still long FNGR. I am still bullish for this move. And we will observe and react as we go. Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be cool. But with that said, I wish you well, a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios, team. Yeah.